Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry. And today I'm cleaning a carpet that it's actually 28 years old. The people who live here have been in the house for 26 years. And when I walked in the door, I immediately realized that this carpet had a problem. Overall, it looks pretty clean, but the problem is damage. And I knew right away Oxyfish had cleaned this carpet, and indeed she confirmed that after a few minutes of talking to her. And this is I've seen at least a dozen or more carpets in the last couple of years in my area that have this kind of damage on them because Oxyfish does this. Doesn't do it all the time, obviously, but they do it a lot because if I've seen over a dozen carpets that I've seen, that means there's a lot more out there that have this damage on them. And what's interesting is that rarely do people even realize the damage has happened. I point it out to them and then they go, "Oh, I never noticed that." This is one spot, the whole carpet. I mean, I walked in the door and I immediately got, oh, looks like a CRB machine has been here, and the carpet has overall just a fuzzy, furry look. It's got lots of the scallop hedgerowing, we call that right there. Look at this one over here. Seriously, can you see that? The damage? It's all over the place. And what's interesting is, now this carpet certainly has wear on the traffic lanes, but this wear, this right over there, you can actually see you can see the scratchy marks from the brushes of that machine all over the place. So on the left side of the toilet there, you can see it more obviously there. In areas where people walk, it tends to sort of fur together again. The tip blooming that they caused kind of furs together, and people don't, or felts together, I guess is the right word. And people often won't notice it because of that. But as soon as I suspect that a CRB machine has been on the carpet, the first place to look is behind the doors, because that's where you'll find it, where they didn't walk. And look at that. There, you can see it right there. You can actually see where the machine almost made it up to the wall, but of course it can't quite because of the way the brush goes. On the steps, you can see where the brush went up to the side of the steps, but of course you can't quite make it to the edge, and there's where you can see where the pile distortion ends, and you can see where the people walk in the center of the step, but the damage goes beyond that because it goes wherever the brush went. And of course, the more they work the carpet, the more obvious that becomes. You can see it right along the wall here. It's just everywhere. You can see how massacred these steps are. I mean, look at this. Nobody walks here. You can see it. It's totally massacred. Over on the sides, you can actually see the combing effect from the brush of the CRB machine. It's permanent. I already vacuumed these steps, and they won't come out. Right up against right into the corner here. You can see actually you can see they went two directions there. I can see it. I used a CRB machine many years ago, and I know what they do. Actually, I feel kind of angry when I see this because, I mean, obviously I didn't do it, but it just annoys me that you've got this. People are paying to have their carpet cleaned, and they're ending up getting damaged, not even realizing it. I mean, these people didn't pay to get their carpet screwed up. It's just frustrates me. And what really frustrates me is that the CRB machines are often approved and okay to use on carpets made by certain mills, but they say no, you can't use a rotary. And I have been operating with this rotary now. This has been our number one method now for 25 years, and I've been carpet cleaning for over 40, and I've never seen a rotary do this damage on a carpet. Never. Now, obviously, when somebody's using a CRB machine, and you run across a carpet that's, this is obviously a kind of a softer carpet. It's a Saxony. You do want to use a softer bristle brush, but sometimes the brush you use that will actually clean the carpet, like you have a choice usually of at least 3 or maybe 4 brushes, but sometimes the softer one that is safe on the rug is just not going to clean well enough, and you have to go to the heavier gauge one, and then the damage starts happening. Anyway, it just I find it's just so irritating to see this kind of thing happening, and that the rotary, which I use every single day, I never tip them, and yet the CRBs are often recommended over using a rotary, and it just frustrates me. There, I get that off my chest. But this is so this carpet is 28 years old. It's a nylon, by the way, in case you were wondering. They're a good carpet, obviously, to have lasted this long. And by the way, had this CRB machine not messed up the overall look of the carpet, because even, I'm only doing the upstairs, but the downstairs, it's wall to wall down there. Just looks like fur. It's just awful. But anyway, it'll clean fine with my machine here, and what I'm using is Nanomax 1 ounce per gallon, boosted with 500 parts per million ClO2, my standard mix. I'm using a hog's hair fiber pad on this, just to cut through the. There was an obvious traffic lane in the hallway there. Looks like I might have a footwear issue, transfer issue going on. Now, by the way, let's talk about this for a sec. Can you see the damage there? And you notice I went over with my machine, and it doesn't come out. And it won't come out. It will not come out from cleaning. It's permanent. That's permanent damage. And why would the guy, go nuts right there? Actually, maybe because there's a bit of a spot there, but anyway, I don't know. It's just aggravating. I know there's guys out there that are using CRBs and aren't having issues, but maybe it has a little bit to do with lack of training and experience of whoever was operating the machine in this case. But my point is that it can be done, and the damage can be done, obviously, with the system, and I've been seeing it a lot. And if I've seen it this much, there's way more damaged carpets out there that I haven't seen yet. And if it's happening here, it's happening everywhere. Everywhere is in all over North America. Wherever Oxy-Fresh is out there doing their thing, they're screwing up carpets. My goodness, how could they be in business and do this all the time? Just amazes me. Wow, I just couldn't do this. Back when we were using the host system, which is CRB, we began to realize there was a problem, and we I remember we did a home show once, or actually did a few times, but we set up a demo using the host machine, and we had a piece of carpet, probably similar to this one. We'd run the machine over the carpet, put the power down, right over, and we were showing people how the system worked. And I remember that was when I first realized there was a problem. We finished the home show, and when we were rolling up the carpet, I realized that there was absolutely no texture left in the carpet. It looked like a piece of fur. And I realized, there was a problem here. But anyway, that was a long time ago. And that was one of the reasons why when I started Oxy-Dry, I wanted to get into carpet cleaning, and I realized that that was definitely not the system I was going to use. I'm going to have to get around that toilet with a hand tool later. Do that with my doodle bug and whatnot. But even, see right beside the toilet there, I don't know if you can really see that, but that's, again, damaged there. Just everywhere. Oh. I actually was just at a house about a week ago, and again, it had been done by Oxy-Fresh. And what was interesting is, in fact, it had only ever been done by Oxy-Fresh, and it looked terrible. It had major tip blooming all over the place. But what was interesting is that the hallway, and they had it cleaned, I think, at least 8 times over a few years, 7 or 8 years. And the hallway really looked grubby. And so I thought that'd be interesting to see how it would respond when I cleaned it. And it cleaned up fantastic. And the pads came up filthy. Because the CRB machines do not lift out and remove the oily, sticky, visible soils very well. They glomerate. What they're doing is they're encapsulating. They spray the carpet with a cleaner, pardon me, and they scrub it with the brushes. It glomerates or takes the soil and collects it into, takes like a bunch of little bits of soil, gloms it into one slightly bigger particulate, ideally, and hopefully it's encapsulating it, and then the theory is that it's vacuumed out afterwards by the customer. But our system, I'm using an encapsulating cleaner, but I'm also absorbing with the transferring soil out with the cotton pads. So it actually removes the soil, doesn't leave it behind for the customer to vacuum out. I mean, it's not relying on that. So that's why we get a much better appearing job, a much longer lasting cleaning. I gotta push that wire there. Yeah. Park that over there for a minute. And there we go. I'm going to kind of go over this way a bit, go behind the door. Again, there's damage right over here. You can see up against the wall and behind the door. I mean, can you see that? You can actually see the lines from the machine, and that's permanent from the brush. Isn't that crazy? And even though I'm going over it with there's a Oxy-Dry brush, a fibre brush, you can still see the lines. In other words, it doesn't come out. Kind of like certain carpets that you put the Grandy groomer brush rake on, and some carpets you can leave a permanent mark from the Grandy groomer. So you have to be very careful. That's why on some carpets, like these Saxonies, you're better off to use the broom style rather than the Grandy. And yeah, I actually don't even carry a Grandy. Oh, I guess I do have a Grandy, a small one. But normally, if I do groom a carpet, it'll be the the brush that I will choose because it's safer. It won't leave those permanent scratchy marks on the yarn, or to start the make the Reiki marks. Oh, anyway. Even over here beside the desk, there's again more fish scaling in there, although it looks slightly better. No, I can still see it. I mean, nobody's walking here. I can't cry out loud. That's from the machine only. Nobody walking up along the walls where you see this damage that's permanent. It's just crazy. Okay, now I'm going to switch over to the Iron Man. There is a fairly bad traffic lane right here. It's actually kind of compressed a little bit too, so I would guess these people are at least in their 80s anyway, I guess. And you've lived here for 26 years. And we'll kerplunk that down. It's cleaning fine. Looking good. These older nylons actually do clean pretty easily. They really release the soil quite well. I remember when basically the only carpet fiber we were dealing with was nylon and olefin, and once in a blue moon, wool. Now we have the polyesters, which actually clean really well with the way I do them. So I'm not intimidated by the polyesters, which normally don't clean well with hot water extraction, or not as easily anyway, but I don't have a problem with them. I discovered that the hog's hair works really well on polyester, in case you're wondering. Alrighty, pull a bit of slack here. So anyway, I probably mentioned this before, but Oxy-Fresh came into my town, I think about 4 years ago. And I wasn't aware that they were here until the first indication I had was a carpet that I had been cleaning on a regular basis. The folks had called us to get it cleaned, and I wasn't available, so they called Oxy-Fresh, had the carpet cleaned. Next time it was due, they called us again because they weren't impressed with the results they had with Oxy-Fresh anyway. But then when I walked in the door of their place, I thought, oh, what's wrong with this carpet? I knew right away something had happened. And I remember standing there thinking, wow, did I wreck this carpet when I was here last? But anyway, as I started talking to them, they told me they had someone else, but they couldn't remember who it was. And I was trying to figure it out. I was thinking, what on earth did this to this carpet? Because I didn't know there was anybody using a CRB system in town at that time. And it wasn't until I moved the couch to clean under it that I realized, oh, there's definitely been a CRB on this carpet. And I still didn't realize it was Oxy-Fresh, because I didn't know they were in town yet. It was maybe a week or so later that I saw their vehicle drive by, and I put two and two together and realized, oh my goodness, Oxy-Fresh screwed up that carpet. And then I ran into a few more carpets over that year that they had ruined. And then a couple of years later, they went up for sale, tried to sell for about a year. And then last winter, I guess, they tried to sell for a while, and then the price dropped. I think once or twice. I think they were going for 80,000 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I think it was around that. Dropped it down to 70, I think, or whatever, including a vehicle and whatever. And then they kind of disappeared. So I guess nobody bought them. I am assuming that's because anybody would look at the actual numbers and realize this wasn't a very tenable business model. And then anyway, they're gone. So that's a good thing for everybody in Kelowna who's might have gotten them and had their carpets ruined. It's fine for me, because there were people who would think they were calling Oxy-Dry, but accidentally ended up calling Oxy-Fresh, which I realized would happen, but anyway. So they're gone, and last I checked, which was probably at least months ago, 6 months ago or more, I don't think in the last 3 or 4 years that there were ever any more than 2 Oxy-Fresh franchises in Canada, with Kelowna being one of them. There was one back east, somewhere in Ontario, I think. But I don't think there were ever any more than that. And and obviously they've been trying to sell in Canada, get more franchises up and running, but I guess that hasn't quite worked out as well as they hoped. So their main business really actually is selling franchises. They don't really, I mean, for crying out loud, how could they be running a real professional carpet cleaning business when they're screwing carpets up left, right, and center? And if I've seen it this often, you better believe it's happening a lot more than I know about. And it's happening in every city where they are. It's a problem. But again, oddly enough, in every case that I've seen, the customer was unaware that their carpet had been damaged until I pointed it out, and then they saw it. So isn't that interesting? I'm not really sure why that is, but anyway. So I'm almost done. Obviously I gotta go do the steps, and I got actually some mats downstairs to do as well. And here I am one-handing, because I find this machine quite nimble. Okay, let's go to the top of the steps. And we'll take a look at the pad. Oh, actually, I'm going to need that down there. Well, I'd say that needed a cleaning. Okay, I'll go downstairs and do the mats and continue on.